Today's session we are going to work on these obj browse method. See, obj methods are nothing but to perform any actions on database. See, already database we have in the application. Okay, so when you install application, so PG SQL database or PostgreSQL database you'll be getting. In the real time, it can be any database. Okay, if it is a different database, also process will be similar. See, today we'll be first understanding about a method called obj browse method. See, what is this obj browse purpose is? So fetch multiple records or fetch dynamic records. See, dynamic records are nothing but from the storage. If any data available in the table already, so from the storage we need to fetch it to the application UI we have to fetch. Okay, and using obj browse for one or more columns we can fetch minimum one, and more than one column also we can fetch. For example, I'll be taking the state table is there, right? We have two columns, state code and state name. So I'm going to use that example, and those two records, the state code and state name records, I want to assign to the UI page. I want to assign, that is UI page means in the customer design we're having state property. So to the state property I want to assign those records. So how to assign two set of records to one field, you'll understand once do I do the mapping. You can understand how to do the mapping for the state property from the data table. So this set of records what we are loading or using, so this is called dynamic loading. Okay, so or we can also call it as fetch dynamic records from the storage. Okay, so other methods, whenever I work on that method I'll give the introduction. I'm not giving an introduction to other methods in the obj category. See, but one thing is, if you're having any records in the table and if you're fetching to the application, what I said earlier, so clipboard is the main interface. So first of all, the records will be sent to the clipboard, and again from the clipboard we need to map it to the UI pages we have to map. So directly to UI page it will not load the records. So first it will load to the clipboard page, and in the clipboard page some structure will be created. We'll understand that structure after the execution. I'll show that. So from the clipboard page we need to map it manually to the user interface page we need to map. Okay, so other thing is, states table will be there in the PR table category, it will be there in the backend. So though we are able to view the table in application, the table actual table will be saved in the PR table in the rule base. So fetching the data from the rule base or from the server now, it is going to fetch from the PR table and display that data in the clipboard page, and from the clipboard page we need to map it to the user interface page we have to map. So obj browse will only fetch up to the clipboard, only it will fetch. Okay, and later from there we need to map it to the UI page we have to map. Okay, so that process we know, right? Anything we create in application under some respective tables, work object data means PC table. Any data tables if you're creating, it will map under PR tables. Any pega rules if you create, it will map under PR4 tables. Okay, and here now I want to create one activity because already UI design is available. So what I'm going to do means, so directly I'm going to add activity rule. See, the same existing the table which is created in the previous session, the same I'm using. So fetch the data from, so any requirement when you're working, you may get the requirement like this. Okay, so create an activity to fetch all the state codes and state name from the state table and map it to the state property in the customer design. Okay, like that you may get the requirement. So accordingly, so we need to work on the steps here. Okay, so already UI design is there, so no need to again add the UI design. So the requirement whatever we have now, so accordingly we'll perform the steps here. Okay, so directly I can create activity because table is already there, state table, and records also I have given. See, if you didn't give any records in state table, so at least give some records in the state table, guys, few records. Okay, then only we can get the output, right? So if you don't have any records in the table, so manually add some records. See, I've given some records right in the previous classes manually. So once table is generated, so assign some records manually. But when you are doing this dynamic fetching or dynamic loading, So we can remove the static records for the state property. So during mapping, I'll show that how to remove the static records, because see, during property creation state property in the UI, there are some static records available, okay, that I'm going to remove, and I'm going to load these dynamic records. So static records are fixed, but dynamic records maybe in the later, if they add any records, these records will be updated automatically in the UI. Okay, if they remove any records or update any records, so dynamic records means it may be keep on changing. Okay, they can add more records, they can update existing ones, they can remove any current records, like that. Any changes done in the table automatically after loading these dynamic records, so it will automatically update in the runtime. Okay, again every time, no need to do any changes manually. If any changes done in the table, automatically it will be updated in the UI page also, it will get updated. Okay, so make sure you're having some records in your state table, then only I can do some fetching, right? So even if you do mapping, if you don't have any records, means you'll not be getting any results. Okay, so make sure open, if table is not generated, generate the table and add some records, okay, by following the previous steps. Now the next step is, so you can directly create an activity. So this we can create in the work layer, we can define. So go to technical category and open this activity. Okay, and in this actually, so though we are fetching the data from the different class, actually in the last sessions examples, like in the previous activity, two activities, I defined pays and classes. But in this scenario, actually only obj browse, if you're using, no need to define pays and classes, because the page name and class name option both will be available under obj method parameters only will be having. So separately, no need to define pages and classes. And if pages and classes are not required, that is if there is no need to give pages and classes, then no need to define page new and page remove also. So earlier in the previous two activities, so page new, page remove methods are used. So if you have any new pages in the activity, then only we'll use those two methods. Okay, if there are no new page in the pages and classes, then directly you can go with the method. What is the method you are going to define? So directly you can use that method. So the method name is here obj browse. Only one step in this case, but and again no need to define any step page also, because there is no separate user page for this. But where we need to provide the step page means under the method parameters only, you'll get the step page option, that is user page option, and class option also you'll get in the method parameters. If I expand the method, so some parameters will be mandatory, so that we need to fill here. So here the page name and class name, here in the method parameters we need to provide. See, page name means actually, see what are the page name given here. So this page will be added to clipboard, and under that page the results will be available. Okay, so I'm giving some page, any name you can give. So what are the page name given here under this page in the clipboard? So the results will be fetched. Okay, and the name of the table is states table, is the data table name. Because from this table we are fetching the results. So enter some page name, this can be any page name given, and under this page in the clipboard, so you can view the results. But again under this page some other things will be created, I'll discuss once I execute this activity, I'll discuss. And mention the class name, that is from which table we are fetching the data, so mention the data class name. And here one setting will be there. If you want to fetch multiple records from 7.4 version, we have to disable this checkbox. So then only the structure will be created in the clipboard. So up to 7.3 not required, but from 7.4 version, this one must be disabled. Okay, then only the records will be assigned to the clipboard. And in order to now, for which actually here without writing any statements, okay, without writing any queries, So just we are using the method and filling the parameters. See here, already table name is given, and in the table, so column names you can choose here. For which columns you are going to fetch the records. So state code is one column, another column is state name. So you have to provide the name of columns for which you are fetching the records. So that's it. And in the next classes, I'll show you some relationship and filter conditions will be there. I'll discuss later. As of now, save the activity. So you may get some warnings. Warnings not at all issue in activity. So actually we can verify whether the records are displayed in the, that is whether the records are fetched or not. So you can check first of all using clipboard page. See, in tracer we cannot see the results. Only if there is issue is there or not we can check in the tracer. But any data whether it is fetched or not if you want to verify, so we can only check using the clipboard tool only we can check. So initially anytime activities when you debug, so first we'll debug using clipboard tool. Okay, so you need to, I think we know the process how to debug using clipboard. So go to actions and run. So inside the run widget, first we need to click on, again click on this run option. So you'll get the status window. You can close this and now click on clipboard from the widget itself. And coming to the structure, see some structure will be created whenever we fetch multiple records. Okay, see if even if it is internal database or external database, so Pega will be creating some clipboard structure will be created. Okay, OBJ browser RDB list will be some method will be there. I'll be using in the coming classes. So any of these two methods if you're using, inside the clipboard it will be adding some classes and pages will be generated. Let's see what is that structure. See under the user pages, now you have to search for that fetch page. You have to search because in the method parameters there is the page name given, right? You can see fetch page, and this page will have a reference class always when you fetch multiple records. That is, if you're using OBJ browser RDB list methods, so the results will assign to some class called list class. It's a predefined class, code-peg list. Okay, so this will be the predefined class. So any set of records or any multiple records if you are fetching, or anytime if you're using OBJ browser RDB list, so the class will be assigned, that is user page will be assigned to this list class called code-peg-list, and expand this one. And before that, actually in the backend, it will automatically generate these SQL statements. Okay, we don't edit them. Okay, because these are PX types. Okay, PX types means what? Only read only thing. Okay, so some SQL statements will be generated in the background based on this method usage. So don't worry, we don't edit or we don't modify that one. But you can see how many records are there in the table. We can see here itself. Okay, so 4 records is the record count. Okay, so that we can just check. Okay, and here now the results, if want to physically verify in clipboard, we can physically see the results, right, whether it is fetching or not. Now under this page, fetch page, expand this. So you'll be having one property called px results. Again, this is also a read only property. Okay, so what is this px results? Means all the results what we fetch from the data table or data type, so it will be available under this property. It's a pay list property actually. See here, the thing is, for multiple columns multiple results we are fetching. Maybe sometimes you may fetch for one column also, but obj browse purpose and functionalities, we can fetch records for one or more columns at a time. Okay, so the thing is, what is a pay list purpose? It will hold multiple properties and multiple results we can assign to the properties. Okay, so then the thing is here, when you display the results in this clipboard page, so it will be displayed under a page called px results, which is a pay listed property. The type of property internal is, it's a pay list property. Okay, it's a predefined, but it is a pay list property. And under this, expand this one, and you can see how many results you have in your table. It will create the index, like 4 results we have in the table, so 4 index will be created. If you're having 100 records, means 100 index will be created. Okay, so like based on the number of results we have in the table, records in the table, so it will be creating the index. So click on any index 1, So you can see the records in the table. What is the order we have? In the same order it is going to fetch and display the records here. Okay. Now if you click on the second one, you can see the records. Okay. So like that, now the results are available in the clipboard. Okay, after using this obj browse, so the results will fetch from table to the application clipboard. Okay, and from here we need to map the records to the UI page. Actually now the currently the records under a available under a page called fetchpage.px results. Okay, number not required when you're mapping, but this is the page where results are available, fetchpage.px results. Okay, and the reference class is your table class. So anywhere if you're mapping this data in the UI page, so you have to particularly use this page fetchpage.px results, and you need to mention the table class. Okay, so now the thing is, the next step is, so we need to load these records to the UI design in the application. So once again I'll quickly repeat. So like that, whenever we use the methods, just fill the parameters, and automatically in the background it will perform the required action. So every method will have some specific purpose. So obj browse purpose is to fetch multiple records for one or more columns from the data table. But after fetching, clipboard is the main interface in Pega. So the records will only fetch to the clipboard first, and from there again manually we need to map it to the user interface pages. And here the same thing we did. So once you open activity, so fill the obj browse parameters. So main parameters here are page name and data class, from which data type or data class we are fetching the data. Define the parameters and disable get row key option, and then enter the column names, state code and state name. Then after that you can verify using this clipboard whether the records are available or not. So now in the clipboard you have to understand the structure. See, every method it will not be same again. If you are using some other method, the process can be different again. But for particularly obj browse, if you are using, so user page will assign to some class called list class, code-peg-list class. So this is a predefined class. All the list class means nothing but any multiple bulk records if you are fetching, or multiple records you are fetching. So the data will assign to this class. And under that you will be having a property called px results, which is a predefined page list property. So because if it is a single page property, means we cannot hold the results under this structure. So compulsory it will be page listed structure, because it is holding multiple columns with multiple results. So that's why the type of property will be always page list only, and there will not be any changes in the px results. And now finally the results are available under the page. So if they want to understand the structure, like that, how many records you are going to fetch, number of index will be created. Okay, so like this, the structure will be like this. User page will assign to list class. Under that you will be having px results, and under that you will be getting the index class will be created, and under that you will be having your column names and results. Okay, like that, how many records you are going to fetch, it will keep on adding the index separately, and we can see the records in the data table. Okay, that is in the clipboard we can see. So the finally the results page here is nothing but here fetchpage.px results is the results page, but always it will not be fetch page, right? If you add some other activity, there can be different page. Okay, some page name.px results, and reference class will be data class. So from here the next step is map these results to the UI page we have to map. Okay, now the next step is continuation to this. See, before mapping these dynamic records we are mapping, right? So you can remove the static data if any for your property. See, for the state property, say earlier at the time of creating the property initially, so we have given some static records. Okay, so open state property. See, you can open individual property, you can open not from the wizard level. So you can open this data model property, click on state. So open the property rule form, and so control will be dropped down. No need to change the control, but what we need to change is in the table type. Actually you will be having either local list or prompt list. See, through wizard if you create, means prompt list will be created automatically, but manually if you define, that is from data model property, if you add either local list or prompt list you may have taken. So what we need to do means, so we need to change this option to none. We have to change any option we have here, so change the option to none, so that the static data will be removed. So change that option to none. Now save this one. Okay, so like that, remove the static data so that we can load dynamic records we can load. Okay, so because actually if you have static data, not mandatory, if you have static records also you can load dynamic data. But why I'm doing this thing is, in the coming scenarios we may do some cascading process. Cascading if you're doing means sometimes it will conflict with the static record. So make sure it is it is a best practice to remove the static data if you are loading any dynamic records, because we don't use further, right? Once we remove the static, if you're loading dynamic data means further we don't use any static records again. So you can change the table type to none, you can change, and save your property, so it will not have any static records now. Okay, and go back to customer design. So in the customer section, so now in this customer section, now we need to first define base and classes we need to define. So because the results are available under some page and reference class, right? So page name we need to provide manually. Suppose if the clipboard is already open means you can copy paste or else type it manually. So page names are again case sensitive. So give exactly. Okay, if you when you're typing manually, if the page names are not case sensitive, it will not work. Okay, results will not load. So and predefined properties always it will be case sensitive, and user defined pages also you have to give it in the same format. Okay, so don't give it in your own template and own format. It should be in the same way. Uppercase means uppercase, lowercase means lowercase, what exactly you have taken in your application, so give the same things. Okay, and class name you can choose in the drop down. So for this page the reference class is your table class, so which is data hyphen stage table. And after doing this mapping, save the design once. Now go back to design tab. So okay, this required fields I'm going to remove. If you want you can keep in the systems. So for the first name property, I'm going to remove the required option because I'll be executing multiple times from now. So I'm going to change that to never. I'm changing. Okay, now other thing is, now for the state property we are going to assign those records. Okay, so those state columns, state code and state name, two columns are there. So both the records we can assign to one property. See, so how to assign this means, see, they may ask you one requirement. See, in many applications, see, display value will be one, again the storage value will be different. That is after submitting that value, so the value can be a different value can be there. Suppose see, if you select the value as United States of America, but in the storage it will save as USA, it will be saved. So like that for some columns, not for every column, but for some columns the display value will be one, and after submitting that value will be saved as a different value, it can be saved. Okay, so how to perform save action we'll discuss in the later classes. But when doing the mapping and all, we have to understand how to do the mapping. So for one column how to assign, two set of records how to assign, we'll see here already. If you are fetching dynamic data or static data, compulsory either a drop down, autocomplete or radio button must be there. So for statements mostly we'll go for drop down. You can also use autocomplete, also you can use, but I'm going with the drop down feature. Already drop down is there. Okay, no need to change any. But one thing is, earlier when static records, when we are having static data, so caption is already given earlier. Okay, but now after removing the static records, caption will not be available. That is, caption means nothing but the starting value or default value will not be available now. So what we need to do means, so we need to provide a caption if you are loading dynamic records. Okay, so how to provide a caption or default value means, so here you will be having an option called include placeholder. So we need to enable this checkbox. So this purpose is to provide a default value or caption value. So I'm giving something like so select state I'm giving. and this will display the first value in the drop down. Okay, this will be the first value in the drop down. Now, how to load these dynamic records? See, to know, in order to load dynamic records, some 3 to 4 options we have. So the list source option is there, right? This list source you'll not get for every control, but particularly for radio buttons, drop downs, and autocompletes only you'll be getting this. Okay. So in the list source, the types will be there. See, the default type is as defined on property. See, as defined on property is nothing but this is for static records. If you have any static records, means it will load automatically, it will load the static records it is going to load. Okay, but if you want to load dynamic records, means we have to choose the other options like data page or clipboard or report definition. But this scenario, in this scenario, we don't know what is data page and report definition right now. Now the data is available in the clipboard page. Okay, what are the results we fetch? The results are available under the clipboard page, right? So we have to go with, so whenever we are using activities, so we need to go with option called clipboard page. So select this option, and here we need to fill the parameters. So what are the parameters available here are, so it will ask you to give the clipboard page. See, already in the page and classes we have provided the name, right? So then you'll get in the drop down automatically, you can choose the page. Then again in the clipboard page the results are loaded using activity rule. So you'll be getting a checkbox with select this checkbox, because we need to give the name of activity here. So provide the name of activity in the drop down, and then we need to fill the parameters. So remaining parameters are, we need to enter the column name. So that is nothing but, so the name of property, so which is display text and property for value. Actually 2 columns are there. See, but always you will not have 2 columns. Okay, in this scenario we're having 2 columns, but in every scenario you will not be having 2 set of columns, guys. Okay, so if you have 2 set of columns, how to assign means, see here I want to give the display text as a full name, like a state name contains a detailed full name, right? So that I want to give it in the property for display text, and property for value option will be there. So in the property for value I want to assign state code value, I want to assign. Okay, one second. So property for name display text I want to give it as state name, and for property for value I want to give state code. So click on dot option here in the display text, select state name, and for property for value click on dot and select state code. Okay, so assign these columns, so that, so when you check in the down arrow, first of all the display text you will get as full value you'll be getting. Okay, like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, so like that full value you'll be getting. But after submission it will be saved as a code value, will be saved in the storage. As of now the default storage will be work table, right? Or defer queue will be calling. What is defer queue? More about that you will understand later. So defer queue or work table both are similar. So initially the what are the values submitted, that particular value will be saved as a code value, it will be saved. Okay, so submit this and save this design. So like that you can try for the country. Okay, create one storage for the country property, and then add these any you can add 2 columns like country code, country name, and assign the, this is autocomplete actually. So this I have done for the drop down, right? So do this for the autocomplete control. Okay, same procedure. Okay, just you will be getting the source type, list type you will be getting as again clipboard page, and fill the parameters accordingly. So the same thing try to do for the country property with autocomplete control. Okay, autocomplete is also similar to drop down only, with same parameters we have to assign. Okay, so once again I'll quickly repeat. So first we open this state property, and I removed the static records to none. Whatever you have, what are the earlier you have this local list or prompt list, whatever you have, so change the option to none, save that property, and in the customer design you'll open these page and classes, and define this user page name according to your system, in your system at exactly what you have given, give that one. Okay, because it should be case sensitive, and mention your table name, and in the property settings so enter the caption, so include placeholder, if enable you can provide the caption, then fill the required parameters like In the source type, we'll be selecting clipboard page, and we are going to provide the activity information, that is the name of activity. See, like that, activities in different scenarios in different ways will be calling. So in this scenario, under the list source settings, we have given activity name, but in some other scenarios, we'll call it in fly action sometimes. Sometimes we'll call it in the some declarative rules, some decision rules will not decision rules, some declarative rules will be calling, and we'll be calling sometimes in services, some agents. So like that, many ways are there to call activity. So step by step, in every activity, I'll be calling in a different way. Then you'll understand all the ways where to call the activity in the application. And here, once we fill the parameters, so for the property for value, give the value as code value, and property for display text, give it as a state name. Then submit and save the design. Now you can verify. So if it is fetching the data in the clipboard, and if you map the configuration correctly in the section, so the results will, you can verify through flow. You can execute flow and verify this. And see, one thing I want to, before executing the flow, I want to show you one step. See, every time if you are executing, when you are executing this flow design, so we have to open manually from the App Explorer. Okay, so we need to go to the process, and we need to extract this one, collapse this and open the flow, and we need to run this. Okay, but instead of doing this, there is one setting in application. See, you'll be having one menu called create menu. Okay, under the create menu, you'll be having an option called new. See, actually we can assign any flows added in this application, we can assign to this option. Okay, but by default it will not be showing that. But if you want to run any flows in the application, we can actually execute from this menu, we can execute. Okay, but how to add these flows to that menu? So what is that setting we have to do? Let's see. See, in order to add your flows to this menu, so we need to one simple setting we have to do. So let's see. So that no need to come open the flow manually and open the flow and run from this action drop down. Okay, any flows if you want to run directly, can run from this menu. So to apply that setting, see, go to application definition. So this is application menu, the first one is application menu, and click on definition. So the purpose here is how to compile the flows from the create menu, or how to add the flows to the create menu, we are going to understand. See, once you open this definition form, see, you need to go to cases and data. So there is a tab called cases and data, and here you can see some option called case types. Okay, so first of all, under the case types, you can give this implementation class name. So implementation class is your work layer. So in your application, so mention your work layer name and enable the checkbox. And see, here you can give any name, you can give XYZ ABC also you can give, but try to give any flow name which is already there in your application. Okay, so give any flow name which is already there in your application. I'm giving the flow name as customer flow. See, if you give any name also, it will take actually, but try to give any name from your application. See, what happens means, if you define these two, so in your application, if you are creating any flows in the future, all the flows list will be added under this menu. Okay, but I didn't save, right? So after saving, so now we don't see any names here, right, under the new category. But after this save is applied, so it will automatically show the flows, not only this customer flow. If you have any other flows in this application, so all the flow names, and in the future if you are creating any flows also, it will display under this menu. Okay, another option available is work ID prefix. See, earlier the work ID prefix we are getting is C hyphen. Okay, so that is the default prefix we will be getting automatically, right? So if I want to change that prefix to some different value, see, C hyphen is a default prefix, and what are we provide here, this is user defined prefix. See, if I'm giving any user defined prefix, what happens means, it will override the predefined value, prefix value it is going to override. Suppose if I'm giving as a hyphen, so I'm giving something as a hyphen, guys. Okay, so if I give a hyphen, so from next time I'll be getting as a hyphen some number I'll be getting. Okay, so in your application, So if you want to give any prefix value, if you want to change the default value to some other value, you can give some prefix id here. Hyphen also we have to enter. So more than one character also we can give, okay, like alpha hyphen also if you want to give like alpha hyphen, so like this also you can give. So I'm giving as a hyphen. Now save this. So now after saving this, go to menu. So you can see the flow names are displayed now here, okay. Earlier there are no names getting, but after applying this setting, you can see both customer and insurance flow, both it is showing in this list, okay. So now what you can do means you can directly run from here. So click on the customer flow. So the prefix also will be updated here. So in my system, the number may be different, but in your system, first time if you execute, you will be getting a-1. Okay, but in my system already this prefix is given in the same server for different application. I think that's I'm getting a different number, but in your system it will start with a-1 again. Okay, and now check this dynamic records it is showing or not. So in the down arrow, if you check, you can see these are all dynamic records. Okay, because see static records are removed. So now what are the records we see here? These are dynamic records. So if you can see here, the value of here we can given is state name is given. State name is full value it is going to show. After selecting any value and submitting that, this value will be saved as a code form. So code format it will be saved. So you can see here after submission the value which is showing here is in a code format it will be there, okay. So like that, so whenever we see the display value whatever we have given or what is the value property value, accordingly what are the mapping done, accordingly it will be showing here, okay. So display value will be state name, and the submission after submission it will be saved as a code value it will be saved, okay. So like that you can not for every column like this will not do, but some columns only one set of record only we may map, okay. Every time we'll not have two set of records for every requirement. Sometimes the same value only one value only will assign as property name and property for display text and property for value, only one value also sometimes will assign, okay. Because two set of records always it will not be available, only few scenarios only we can do this, okay? So this is nothing but dynamic fetching. So any fetching if you want to perform, dynamic fetching if you want to perform, this is the process. Always any requirement if you get, so any dynamic fetching if you want to perform, this is one process, okay. Because again in the customer design if you see, there are some other options also available if you want to perform the same thing. So there are other options like data page and report definition, that also we are going to understand. Today I'll be discussing report definition. So okay, in the next classes you'll understand data page also. So that is about this dynamic fetching, how to fetch multiple records from the table means using obj browse method we can perform. That is one scenario. Again comparing this, there are some best practices are there. What are the best practices also we are going to understand, okay. So first of all, clear here up to this topic. So clear about this activity, obj browse. Like that, we'll be continuously working on the methods, not only this one. Regularly, we'll be working on step by step. We'll be creating activities and working on the other methods also. So practice this compulsory. See in application, if you're performing after performing the steps, if you give the mapping correctly, for everyone it will work, guys. Okay. So Pega is like application when you're giving the mapping and checking the data. So if you give the parameters and everything correctly, so for everyone it will be working. Okay. You'll not be getting any errors like any coding errors or nothing will be there in Pega. Okay. Everything is a template here. Just we need to fill the correct parameters and whatever you give exactly accordingly it will be getting the output here, okay. So for if you perform this in your application, in other application it will not be in a different way. In every application, in every system, when you're giving the parameters correctly means it will exactly work in the same way, because everything here is in the template format, like a just to fill the parameters in the template and use the options, okay. So do this, and the next one I'm going to discuss about report definition, okay. There is a rule called report definition. So the thing is, what is that report definition rule means? See, what are the thing I discussed using obj browse? So same thing I can perform using repo definition also. That is, if I want to fetch records from the table and display to the UI, so through repo definition, because in the list source option you can see an option called repo definition. The thing is, using repo definition also we can perform the dynamic fetching we can perform. But what is the difference between obj browse and repo definition is, see, repo definition will have some additional functionalities. Comparing obj browse, report definition will fetch the data and also display also will be getting in the report itself. That is, if I want to view the records using obj browse means we need to check in the clipboard. But comparing this obj browse with report definition, in report definition display also will be getting, that is what records it is fetching we can view in the report itself we can view. Another thing is, it is best practice than obj browse method. Why means, see, generally in Pega rule activity methods, for any activity method, if any alternate rule or alternate API is there means, so we have to go for alternate APIs. See, obj browse also will use, when we will be using obj browse means fetching and other actions if want to perform, that is along with obj browse. If you need other methods also means we have to go for activity, but only fetching if you perform, so then go with the repo definition rule. Okay, only fetching action only if want to perform, go with repo definition. But activity when we will be using in the coming scenarios means, along with obj browse some other methods also we are going to implement. At that time we can go for activity will be the best practice, because in report definition I cannot perform other actions, I cannot perform activity means I can perform save, update, delete, any other action if I want to perform I can do. But in report definition only fetch action only will be available, I cannot do any updating, saving, other things and all I cannot do in report definition. Only fetch multiple records only I can do using the report. And in order to perform that in the report, so it will be executing one API called px retrieve report data. So in the background, so this report definition will execute one API call. See, this contains some 50 methods, like 51 or 52 methods. Like in a version to version, they may increase some methods also, but around some 50 plus methods will be there in this API. See, even though it is having some 50 plus methods in the backend, so use instead of this obj browse, comparing obj browse, report definition is best practice, because instead of any method, for any method alternate rule is there means, that is best than the method option. Okay, so for obj browse, but for every method alternate rules will not be there, but for few methods there will be some alternate APIs or alternate rules will be there. Okay, so report definition is alternate for obj browse. Only fetching if want to perform, we can go for this. The additional advantage is here display also will be having. Another thing is report definition and all we will be creating in the data classes only we need to define. See, activity rule, where did I define? Under the work layer I defined. But coming to report definitions, where records are there, in which class or in which table records are there, under that only we need to define the report definition, and it come under reports category. So the purpose of this is to fetch the records and display the records. Okay, and internally it will be executing some API. APIs are nothing but predefined activities. Okay, so APIs in Pega are nothing but predefined activities. So any kind of action if you perform in this report definition, any filter conditions if you apply, so it will be executing some method. See, every method will not get executed based on the number of conditions we define exactly. Accordingly, it will be executing some methods in this API. Okay, and what this report definition will do in the backend. Okay, see, report definition will do 3 to 4 things. Okay, it will fetch the data and display the records. Okay, and additional thing in report is we can export this data to any PDF format or XML format. Okay, Excel format. Okay, so other thing is data can be displayed like a charts also we can display. Okay, so like that. So in report definition, like how we you call obj browse, same way we can call it report definition also in the property sources and layout. List table layouts will be there in the future. So table sources or in the property sources we can call report definition. So additional thing is here displays, additionally we have, I'll give the differences again, don't worry. And here we can additionally export the data to PDF for Excel, and also we can display the data like charts. This is optional. See, this is also optional, only mandatory is, so fetch and display is mandatory, so remaining and all optional. These two are optional. And finally compulsory, if you are creating a report means we need to map it in somewhere, like in the property sources or in the layout source is compulsory, we have to map. Only fetching we don't do, right? So after fetching compulsory we will map, like obj, like clipboard page after fetching we mapped under the property source. Like that report definition after creating we will map it in some source, we have to map either it in the property source or in the layout source we have to map. So comparing both, which is best practice, means always we'll say report definition is best practice because it is using the predefined API it is using. Okay. And now let's see same requirement how to implement using report definition. So let's see. So that is again requirement is what, fetch data from the state table for the state property in the customer design. Okay. So requirement is same, but how to do the same requirement by using report definition rule. See, for this only thing is I told that this report definition will define in the table class we have to define. So what we can do means, see, by default you'll be having this work layer, right? So manually select the table class and add this to pinned classes. So there is one option called pinned classes. Pinned classes means like a bookmark or favorite we can say. So if you want to add any rules in apart from work layer in any other classes, if you want to define any rules, what we can do means we can open that classes from the class explorer. So this is the class, right? Table class or states table. So click on pin option. See next to the table name. Okay, sometimes okay, you can see here if you are unable to see means, see if you did not place the pointer it will be hidden. So place the pointer exactly when you just hover the mouse and all, or your touch, if you hover then you can see this pin, otherwise it will be hidden. Okay, so place the hover next to the table name or whatever class name and you can see pin option. So this will be added to the pinned classes. Again, if you want to change this, you can again choose your work layer name. You can choose, that is just a refresh. Automatically, it will go to the work layer. So any rules if you want to define in other classes, we can add it to the pinned classes. We can add. Okay. Now under this, we are going to define the report definition. So this is a reports category. From reports category, only one rule we will be having, that is report definition. These are all just settings. Those two we don't use. Only one rule will be available under reports category, that is report definition. So give a name. See, already we are defining under the table class, right? So only give the column names. Just to mention the column names. That's it. So column names means state code and state name. So here you will be having this template like this. So we have to mention the column source. So which is nothing but state code and state name. That's it. Just fill the column names and just save the report. So automatically internally I told, right, px retrieve report data, one API will be executing in the background and that will fetch all the records in the runtime. So if you now run the report, go to actions and run. So here display also we can check it in the report itself. So how many records we have in this from the table it is fetching. So we can see the display also. 4 records will get the view. Okay. So that is in report definition we can fetch and also we can get the display of the records. Okay. That is we can also view the records in the report itself. So after this fetching and displaying, so comparing obj browse method, so this is best practice because it is easy to design at the same time easy to map also. It is easy to create also. Only column names you have to insert here. Okay, and any execution also we can just check the data in the report itself we can check. So that's why it is best practice than obj browse. Only fetching if you perform, go with this. Okay. And what we need to do after this report is saved, open your customer design. So now I'm going to replace the previous one. So earlier we added the source type as clipboard page. Now we'll replace that with report definition as the source, main source. So what we need to do, open the state property. So caption you can keep as it is. So what we need to do means, now in the list source option, change the source type as, so here you can see list source, last time we have clipboard. Okay, so change the list source to report definition and fill the parameters accordingly. So coming to the parameters here, so applies to means this particular report is defined under table class. So we have to choose the your table class name, then give the report name, then fill the parameters. So here again display text I'm giving state name, and coming to the property value I'm giving state code. Okay, so fill it and click on submit. Save the design and check the output now. So same thing, same output we will be getting, guys. So because in the table same records we have now also, so you can check it in the drop down. Okay, okay, it will save as a code form. So same thing we can also perform using report definition also we can perform, so that in the internally again, so how to just we can also save additionally. These are not mandatory every time, these are just additional things you'll get in the report. Export the data to PDF or Excel, that I'll show in the next exercises. I'll show you. Okay, and now like that, now if you compare the differences between obj browse and report definition, you can mention the points. So I have given the points in the end. So obj browse is a method, and using this method we can fetch records, and report definition is a rule, and using this also we can fetch records. But if you are using report definition, it will be using an API called px to report data to fetch and display the data, but obj browse will be using the method. And here obj browse will only fetch but no display. If you need means you have to particularly check it in the clipboard, but here along with fetching you'll also get the view also you'll be getting. And for any method, see, but always remember guys, so only fetching if you have, then only I can go for report definition. Okay, see, but if you want to fetch and other actions if you want to perform, then compulsory we need to define in activity only we have to define. So any fetching and other actions if you want to perform, then we need to compulsory go with activity rule only. Okay, but for any method if an alternate rule is there means we can go for alternate rule. So here for obj browse alternate rule is report definition. Okay, but in report definition one thing is we cannot perform other actions. I cannot perform like insert, update or delete. If I want to do, I cannot do using report definition. So only fetching means go for this report definition, but other actions if want to perform, we need to go with activity rule only. So comparing to when only performing fetching action means go for report definition, but fetching and other actions if I want to perform, we need to go with activity. But again for report definition also we have alternate rule is there, which is data page. But more about data page you'll understand in the coming classes, you'll understand. Okay, so that is about this obj browse functionality and report definition. Again in many other examples we'll be using these two rules, and in the coming scenarios many cases we'll be using obj browse along with other methods. Okay, because because 70 to 80% of the business logic without obj browse there will not be any activity rule. So in many scenarios in the upcoming classes, obj browse along with other functionalities will be working. Okay, so with different combinations and all, so we'll be again using this obj browse method. Okay, at the time what are the other actions how to perform in activity, then you'll understand step by step, but not today. In the coming scenarios you'll understand that. Okay, now so that is about this report definition. So any questions now? Any questions?